Hey guys, a lot of stuff going on lately in life in general. One of the things that has been really getting under my skin is all this back and forth, this battle that's going on between people that think they should be acknowledged as a semi-professional, paraprofessional, uh, somebody that's worth acknowledging, whatever it may be. Um, Dr. Sean Baker has made a video talking about Frank attacking him on Instagram. How you doing? And Dr. Paul Saladino, I've talked to him in private and asking him what's your relationship with Frank like this? Why are these things falling apart with you and Frank? And he said, I don't know, man. The guy's like a loose cannon. He's accusing me of stealing his content. I remember when the videos came out back in the day when Frank originally first started talking about Dr. Paul Saladino stealing his content. But here's the thing. Every one of us that put out content that's based on some kind of research, nutritional data, some other professional or somebody has already done the research on that. Somebody has already come out with that content. So we're taking somebody else's content and research and then speaking on it and on our behalf of believing something that we're seeing or trying to represent something that we're trying to talk about using certain criteria and why we think it fits best in people's lives and what kind of data and research they should follow. So when I make a video talking about something, that's not my right to say somebody else can't make a video based on the content that I put out. People do it all the time. It's not my data. It's not my research. I didn't work hard in a lab with my money or government money or university money or somebody's privately funded money to come up with that data. I'm using somebody else's data. The problem I'm seeing right now is the fact that Frank Tufano came onto the scene. He's been a carnivore, what, 5 or 6 years now? Pretty smart guy overall. But he uses somebody else's content to come up with the data. This is not something that he can just go pull out of thin air or go walk to his multi-million-dollar lab and do the research himself. He's not doing these meta-analysis and sitting on research boards and science panels and stuff like that, reviewing these peer-reviewed studies and stuff like that. He's not doing that stuff. He's taking the information that they talk about and he's presenting a video on it based on what he wants you to believe, either drawing attention to the truthfulness of it or not being truthful. He's providing information that's been buried, that he's done the work to dig up and use what somebody else has found true, that he so wholeheartedly believes is true. So when you take somebody else's data and you create a video on it, there's nothing wrong with that. But if somebody else comes along and sees your video and they learn from your video, there's nothing wrong with them taking that video and then making more criteria on it, even if it sounds exactly the same. Because at the end of the day, you're using somebody else's information. That is not your information. So when somebody takes your information that you put in your video and they make another video, obviously it's probably going to sound a lot like your video. There's nothing wrong with that. This is common practice with people that want to put out criteria to spread out to their audience because maybe they're not subscribers on somebody else's channel. Maybe they don't get the message very well from somebody else, but they do from you. Maybe there's a number of things that people use that they like to share with others and they kind of group share or they use somebody else's criteria, not trying to be spiteful, just trying to get more information out there. Maybe they really respected your video so much that they wanted to use that video as well. Frank is upset that people are using his criteria. He's upset that Dr. Paul Saladino put out videos that were very similar speaking, just like his. So he started attacking Paul on it. It wasn't just a little bit of a, hey, private message, Paul, I know what's going on kind of thing. It expanded from that into talking about it in videos, attacking Paul uh, social media wise publicly, Instagram, going and saying things in front of everybody else to try to draw more attention to himself because he was upset that other people were making content that sounded just like his. He just knew 100% wholeheartedly that Paul was recreating his videos in Paul's way. But here's the thing, Paul's a young doctor, he's a good looking doctor, He's very fit. He's very healthy. He's got a big audience. He's got the professional stature behind it. Paul, on the drop of a dime, you can give Dr. Paul Saladino something and say, explain it now, and it's bam, 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 bam. He doesn't have to go back and look it up. He doesn't have to do any of that other stuff that Frank has to do. Frank has admitted that even Thomas DeLauer talks about really sciencey stuff sometimes and misses cues on the more important, simpler things because it's so in depth with what Thomas wants to talk about that even Frank misses out on some of that. This is why Dr. Paul Saladino is so good at explaining things that he explains. This is why I don't get why it's so difficult for Frank to understand that other people may make the same type of video as him. But Frank doesn't want that. Frank wants all the attention on himself. Frank wants people to know him as the #1 carnivore. They want it's this this narcissistic almost behavior type. The fact that you want to be known for something, it's got to be all about you. I just posted a meme the other day, and it was like, it said something along the lines of, let's tell a narcissist to think about something that has to do with themselves, and then change the subject to another topic and ask them a question. A narcissist will still be thinking about themselves. And that's almost how Frank comes across. Frank wants people to know that he's the carnivore king, but he's not put the work in to do it yet. Frank was on some cooking shows that were public, so he thinks that he should be well known, because he was on TV and stuff like that, on, the Iron Chef or whatever it was, or some kind of chef cook-off thing. Frank has got this attitude about him to where he thinks that he should be well known more than what he is. Frank wants to be known as the carnivore king, the carnivore god, when it's not that hard. Frank has even admitted it himself that he uses prompts. He writes his own scripts, he writes his own information and stuff down, and he reads off those scripts. So when you're researching somebody else's data and you're writing down data points and you're trying to put it in a format so you can actually rehearse it and give it to other people so they can understand it, you're using somebody else's information. And if I take that same study that you looked at, chances are I'm going to write down in some form or fashion the same data points. And if you reference a study and I go look at it and I want to talk about it, chances are I'm going to do the same exact thing you did. And it's going to sound very similar because it's the study we both looked at. We both picked, if you're in tune with carnivore, keto, low carb, anti-inflammatory diets, paleo diets, you might even see that we come up with exactly the same stuff because we're in tune with this stuff. We do this daily. We try to help people and stuff like that. I don't get where Frank comes off that he needs to attack people publicly. I don't get where Frank comes off that he needs to go on Instagram and make people feel like they're smaller than what they are. Just today alone, I went to Frank's live stream on Carnivore Drama, and I tried to leave some comments asking questions to clear things up a little bit more before I was able to come here and talk to you guys. So if I say anything inaccurate, chances are it could have been cleared up a little bit more if I could have got through to ask Frank the questions. But Frank has put new moderators in place on his channel. One of the moderators does not like the fact that I openly speak the truth, and I don't necessarily care for Frank. I do support Frank because Frank is trying to help people heal. I don't like his attitude, and I don't like how he goes about doing things, but I still support him in the aspect that I know he's trying to make a better life for himself. I know he's trying to do better for himself. I know he's stepping on to bigger and better things. He's got a new business and stuff now. He's got his online meat stuff now. He's really trying to pull all the rabbits out of the hat, and I commend him for that 100%. But I do not commend somebody acting like a man-child. He said in his video today, just in the 5-10 minutes that I was there asking questions or trying to ask questions, I couldn't figure out why none of my questions would show up on the live stream so I can get better clarification on some things. And maybe I wouldn't even have had to have made this video if I could have got to talk to him more directly. But the new moderators that he has in place, one of them doesn't like the fact that I talk badly about Frank at all. She loves Frank to the point where she doesn't want nobody to say anything bad about him. And I think that she's seen that I came into the chat and she immediately blocked me, so I could not ask any questions. I even messaged on his Ford Taurus that he said he wanted to put shocks on because I'm a Master Ford certified tech, to let him know it's not that hard. You can actually do it yourself. And if you need some help with that, I can get you the directions to do it because I have access to all that data. But I couldn't even get that out to him because I'm blocked from asking questions on his live stream, probably from the moderator that knows I don't have a filter when it comes to that. If I want to ask you, why are you why are you mad at somebody else for putting out data or talking about things when you're taking data from somebody else and you're making your videos based on somebody else's criteria? If you're doing any kind of video on somebody else's criteria, that's free game. Anybody can do a video that sounds almost exactly like yours. You have no right to say you can't copy my video. Well, yes, I can, because you're not using your own data points. You're not using your own research. You're not using your own anything. There's nothing against that. That's beside the point. I'm now blocked from his live chat. I can't ask questions or anything like that. I don't care who you are. If I want to say something about you and speak the truth, I'm going to speak the truth. And Frank has almost grown into this big baby. And I don't know how many times just in that 10 minutes I was sitting there watching, trying to ask questions, did he say, he dropped like a sigh and put his head down or looked off to the side and said, yeah, but nobody's recognizing me and people are stealing my information. And he kept looking away when he was saying it. This is somebody that wants to be recognized for something but has not put the work in to do it yet. Frank, for the longest time, only had 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers, and it just happened out of nowhere where his content started just driving like crazy. Me, personally, I noticed that his subscriber rating really started to boost up and just skyrocket whenever Frank started doing more dramatic content. He started talking more about the gay stuff and the gay male films that he, like movie type thing, like a gay role that he played. When he started attacking vegan gains and talking about other people that don't know what they're talking about, people love drama. And the subscriber rating started to really increase. Well, somebody heard me talk about that one day and they said, no, you're an asshole. You should not have said that. You should not have done this. That's not true. Frank worked hard for all those subscribers. It doesn't take very much to start trash talking somebody, and then all of a sudden your subscriber rating just skyrockets. That's just the fact of the matter. Drama draws a crowd in, and people love drama. What I don't get is now Sean Baker's getting pulled into all this. Sean started getting harassed on Instagram. Frank is messaging him, trying to retract from him. Why are you this and why are you that and why are you saying this and how come you're not acknowledging me? If you and Dr. Paul Saladino don't acknowledge me as an equal to you or as somebody respectful in the community or something like that, I'm gonna start making videos about you guys. And then today Sean put out another video talking about how he wouldn't quit. He came back again and was like accusing him of working for cargo, big meat packing companies or something like that. And it's ridiculous. And people follow this guy because they like his skin and his hair and the information that he puts out, and he fills in the gaps when other people don't fill in the gaps. I don't find that to be truthful at all. I find people that don't take a little bit of time on the weekends or in their time where they don't want to do a little bit of research or they don't want to study up a little bit on things, they find that Frank is very informative. When people like me or you that actually take the time to read through the studies or the literature or buy books and stuff like that, listen to Frank and we're like, oh God, just not again, man. Seriously, just get over yourself. So there's two different ways to look at this. The people that don't want to do the research, they don't want to look into things, they find Frank, and Frank is very helpful to them because they don't know any better. But when me and you look at him, the people that want to do the research, that want to dabble in this, go get the blood work, spend our money to do these things, read the books, talk to the professionals and stuff that do this stuff, that have worked hard to get where they are. It doesn't happen overnight. You know, there's a lot of people. Dr. Eric Westman didn't have anybody do this for him. He didn't have to be recognized by anybody. He worked hard on his own. He worked in a facility, at a college, a university, a doctor. He ran people's labs. He did all this stuff. He studied this stuff. He wrote books. He co-authored stuff. He worked hard for this. Well, the same thing goes with Dr. Paul Saladino. He's a newer, younger doctor. He's on podcasts with people all over the world. He's doing stuff with Human Performance Outliers. He's going on radio shows and on Facebook groups. He came on my Facebook group, and not only did he give me his time for about 40 minutes explaining things in a wonderful fashion that nobody has explained my Facebook group, he came back on again a second time, and he actually reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you think maybe I could give your people on your Facebook group some time? I'd love to just chat and just teach them some things or talk to you, whatever." Well, my connection wasn't working out. So I said, "Hey, Doc, would you mind just jumping on real quick and just rolling with it and just go, man? Do your thing. You're super smart." He gave us another 45 minutes of his time of just unrehearsed, unleashed, raw data, raw. If you're missing this, eat this. If you need this, eat this. If you're adding grass-fed butter in, you're going to get this type of compound that's mixed with other food, or this, omega or something like that. He was just top notch. He just rolled with it. He didn't have to rehearse it. He wasn't looking at paperwork. He wasn't looking at. He's the real deal. When it comes down to people that work hard, they put the time and effort and stuff into it. They roll. Those people deserve it. Frank is a great guy. Don't get me wrong. He's young. He's got a lot of growing to do, but he's attacking the wrong people. He should not be forcing these people to accept him into their corner and stuff like that. He should be doing the work and continuing to do the work, and then possibly getting so big that he creates his own podcasts or his own Facebook groups, or does these types of things that these other guys did to get their information out there more. They didn't have to have people help them. They went in it head first and they said, "Look, I'm going to do this. I'm going to share my expertise. I'm going to get out here. I'm going to help people, and I'm going to grow. If it takes 10 years, it takes 10 years. Some of these guys, it took them 10, 15, 20 years to even get known by people to, "Hey, that's Dr. Eric Westman. I know who you're talking about." So, yes, he was attacking them. I'm not going to get into the chat where I have to start defending and stuff like that. When you go on Instagram and you start calling people out, that's attacking people. When you're trying to take away from their credibility. Dr. Paul Saladino, he made videos talking about how he stole his content and how he did this and he did that, and he had the nerve to try to do a link up with him or something like that, like some kind of collaboration after he stole all his content and stuff like that. And then he's talking about Sean Baker today, bad-mouthing him because he said he received bad product in the mail that Frank bought from some market somewhere, and it got lost in the mail. And by the time it got to Sean Baker's house, deliver or whatever it was, you don't have to listen to it. If I can't even say your name, but I don't really care if you like what I have to say or not. I'm talking about the commenter right now. I'm just to the point now where I don't care what people have to say. I don't care what Frank has to say. I don't care. Answer with no hesitation. Do the starch diet from McDougal? No, absolutely not. Anything from McDougal, McFartface, whatever his name is, you can throw that stuff right out the window. Put it under your feet and turn your foot side to side and just smash it into the ground. That's what you do with McDougal's information. McFartface, Davis, all them. They're all freaking morons. Whenever it comes... Okay, Bob, I'm sorry. You're not a normal commenter, so I don't know if you're joking or not. The thing is, as a community, we were doing great. But then now other YouTubers are starting to see who's the Sverige. He's a loose cannon as it is. Sverige doesn't like anything to do with Frank. Frank started getting into his personal life, putting out content about his ex-girlfriend and all this other stuff from the past, whatever it was. I don't really care. You just don't do stuff like that. You stay out of people's lives. You don't get in their personal lives like that unless they're really doing something wrong to you, and that's what he did. Then he turns around and who's the other carnivore channel now? Carnivore. Carnivore can't stand him. He's made plenty of videos talking about how full of this guy he is. I mean, he's just... He needs to learn to keep this shut, start doing more of this, maybe rehearsing some more of his scripts and stuff like that, and leave everybody else alone. Do your own thing. You're smart enough, you're young enough, and you've got enough drive and enough going on for yourself right now. You can do this on your own. You don't need Dr. Paul Saladino. You don't need Dr. Sean Baker. You've got enough in you. You've got enough energy and courage that you can start dropping some of this narcissistic behavior, and you can start opening more up to your community and stuff like that, and just blow up as much as you possibly can on your own without using everybody else. Do you know how many times I reach out to Dr. Barry? Do you know how many other doctors I tried reaching out to do stuff with, and you become just they get so big they move on from you. They don't have time to come back and message all the time. So I decided I would do stuff on my own. I scheduled my first library I scheduled my first library visit, and I went in and I did my own thing. I didn't have nobody go do it for me. I hooked up with the librarian. I said, you know how big keto's getting, so maybe we could do something with. Let me get out of this truck here. I'm about to. I said, maybe we can do something where I come in and I teach people about how I eat, you know, how I do things. And the lady said, you know what, I think that would be great PR for us. Well, I said, I think it would be great PR for me. You know, the people in the community started getting together with me. We were getting together at steakhouses and stuff. We were meeting at local garden centers and stuff like that, so we can meet and talk and just teach each other and learn things from each other. It was a way to really get out there and start learning things. It was something that I didn't have to have somebody there to help me grow. And I'm not so focused on my YouTube channel as much as I am so what I needed was, I just needed to get out there and network with people, not professionals. Just get out there and let people know in the community who I am, and help as many people, you know, publicly as I can. And that was a great way for me to start spreading my name. And locally in the town I worked at, I would be, you know, in Kroger or something like that, trying to find meat sales or something, and I would always be there getting ribeye. And one day I was picking up a bunch of ribeye that was on sale. Yes, it's conventional. I know it's not Franky's grass-fed meat, but I was there picking up ribeye, and there was a pretty buff, like, I would say, like, not middleweight, like, bodybuilder guy. I mean, he was probably like 190 pounds, little Asian dude. And he was pretty buff. He was big. And he said, hey, you're that keto mechanic guy. And I said, yeah, that's me. And he said, maybe we could sit down sometime and we could, you know, start talking about stuff. Well, then people started noticing me locally more and more. I did it on my own. I didn't have people come do it for me. I don't even do that many collaboration and podcasts and stuff with people, or I don't do any of that stuff. I just basically do it on my own. The thing that I don't get is when somebody else uses your criteria, that doesn't mean you have the right to go badmouth them somewhere else. And if somebody tells you that's not badmouthing, yes, it is. Just like Dr. Sean Baker had mentioned that he ended up with that spoiled liver in the mail from Frank because it got lost. He wasn't talking bad about him. He was just drawing attention to a situation that happened and why everything hasn't been completely kosher and perfect with Frank. But now Frank has the nerve to say that he's been bad-mouthing him and stuff like that. You know what? It's stupid. Now Dr. Sean Baker has said he's tired of his crap, and he's blocked him on Instagram. And there's another bridge he burned, when if he would have been patient and just left it alone after Dr. Baker's video yesterday, he would have gotten a lot farther. Dr. Baker even said, look, you need some time to grow. You need some time to get better at this stuff. And you know what? It'll happen. But then he has the nerve to go back and start doing the same stuff again after Dr. Baker was willing to not say anything bad about him and sweep everything under the rug and just keep going with it. Well, then he wants to go back and start saying more stuff to him about accusing him of being an affiliate or paid by Cargill or these meat companies and stuff like that. And it was a stupid move. Dr. Sean Baker's like one of the top-notch keto guy or carnivore guys out there right now. Not a good idea. Bad move. Bad move. And then burning bridges with Dr. Paul Saladino. Dr. Paul Saladino ain't going to have nothing to do with him now. I've talked to Dr. Paul Saladino in private and said, man, I don't know what this dude's deal is. And he says, you know what, I'm done with that guy, man. He's crazy. He's a loose cannon. And if he keeps up with it, I'm just gonna have to start thinking about things legally. You know, that's where it would go at that point. I just don't understand his mentality and stuff like that. It's people think he is this carnivore god when they don't realize how much more information is out there that Frank is not covering or not putting out, and just the narcissistic mentality and stuff in general. It's terrible. It's terrible. Frank could be so much further along than what he is if he would just chill out, grow up a little bit, and stop worrying about what other people are doing and start worrying about what he's doing. But I keep seeing this stuff pop up, and I like these people. I like Dr. Sean Baker. I like Dr. Paul Saladino. So naturally, with me being the person that I am and what I do online, and being a part of all these other groups, I don't focus so much on YouTube like I should. Maybe I need to start doing that. And I just get sick and tired of seeing it. And I don't like talking bad about people. And I'm not really talking bad about him. I just wish that he would clean up his act. I wish that he would quit with the know-it-all stuff and just keep putting out content and don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Just do it. He can do it on his own. He's smart enough to where he can do it. The guy's not stupid at all. But having that mentality where you have to be number one, or you have to be known, or you have to be part of the circle is what's going to make him fail. Anyway, I'm blocked from his content now. He's got a moderator that really doesn't like me saying anything bad about him or negative at all. So I'll never be able to message him again. So I hope Frank sees this. I hope Frank sees this and at least tries to reach out and message me to say, I tried. Frank trademark registered. Eat from nose to tail. Please don't say it anymore. I don't know anything. So I don't really know what you mean by that. I don't really think Frank registered that. Paul Saladino, he's been saying that for a long time, longer than I've even had any kind of dealings with Frank at all, or even seen his stuff online. So even if Frank did say that, that's a pretty good saying to use. And if other people want to use it, they have every right in the world to use it. It's not Frank's saying. A lot of people even say, like, the snake diet guy, you know, the electrolyte snake juice. Oh, I don't know you too well, Bob, so I'm not sure when you're joking. The snake diet guy, that my parents were fasting back in the... again, that's another one. Tristan has been saying a lot of the same stuff that Frank says now, years ago. You know, snake juice stuff. Everybody calls it snake juice, but my parents were using baking soda and salt and potassium back in their water early 2000, before all this stuff even came out. So that's... Exactly. The problem with the carnivore drama is it's getting just as bad as the vegan drama, if not worse. In a lot of, that's why I've been staying out of a lot of it. That's why I told you guys a long time ago I wouldn't say anything else about vegans and carb. But lately it's been getting ridiculous. I mean, how could you not say anything? It's been just... Frank does not want you to say anything. That's right. Frank does not want you to say anything that he says. And if you do say something that he says, you have to give him credit or get permission from him in order to do it. And that's the sad part about it. And that's what it comes down to. Anyway, I'm tired of being quiet and not saying something about it. And, you know, I even shared Frank's channel and stuff on my channel when he put his meat thing up from his online meat company. And then people were like, why would you say anything negative about him but then turn around and share his stuff? I support him, but I don't like what he says and does. That doesn't mean that I can't associate with somebody because I don't like what they do sometimes. So I know he helps people, but at the same time, there ain't going to be no lawsuits. Nobody has time for that. Nobody has that kind of money to just be dumping into lawsuits and stuff. Ain't nobody worried about lawsuits. People talk about that stuff all the time. Bart and vegan gains and Bart going back and forth, telling each other, oh, you know, we're going to do this for defamation and all this other stuff. Nobody's going to do any of that stuff. I put out a video about Dr. Berry. I'm not going to get into all that. And people are like, oh, he's going to sue you. He's going to sue you. No, he's not. It's all public information, and I presented it. So you can say that stuff all you want. But if it's true, you can't do nothing about it. And even at that, nobody wants to spend the time and money to do lawsuits. There ain't going to be no lawsuits. People talk about that stuff, but they'd be fooled to do lawsuits. You draw more negative attention to yourself with lawsuits than anything. That's stupid. Now, I could see if somebody lost hundreds of thousands of dollars, of course there would be lawsuits, but there ain't none of them that are big enough to lose that kind of money or any kind of monetization when it comes to that aspect. They're so small right now, all of them are, that you're not going to do nothing about that. It would cost you everything you have just to support yourself in that kind of lawsuit. You know, just minimum alone for a lawyer for defamation or something like that would be, I called a guy when I made a video. I made a video about a supplement company, and I took it down just so I didn't have to worry about further actions of wasting my time, not so much the lawsuit, because there would have been no money involved. But a supplement company sent me a supplement in the mail where they were actually scooping out of individual containers with their own hands and putting it into a shaker cup and saying, there's your sample pack. This is not okay, and it's not sanitary, and that is against the law. You cannot do stuff like that. So they were, oh, defamation, we're going to sue you, we're going to do this and that. No, you're not. You're not going to sue anything. You're not going to get any money out of me, and I'm not going to get any money out of you, and you're wasting your time. So I literally could have left that video up, and it would have never went in. They could have tried to have sued me, but everything that I reported was on video, and it was true. So there's nothing that can be done with these lawsuits. People talk about that stuff and claim all the time, oh yeah, I'm going to sue you, I'm going to do this, no, you're not. You're full of it. You're not going to do nothing. You're not losing anything, actually. But that's my video, guys. The narcissistic behavior, the unmatured, ungrowth. You want to be part of people's lives. You want to teach them about nutrition and stuff like that. You want to help them. Then you're going to have to grow up kind of quick and learn how to do it without attacking other people in the process. Dr. Sean Baker's a stand-up kind of guy. You know, Dr. Paul Saladino is a stand-up kind of guy. These guys, Carnivore, stand-up kind of guy. Bart, stand-up. Even Bart has said the debating and stuff that Frank tries to do, where it's almost embarrassing. It's freaking embarrassing. He tries to debate people and makes himself look like a fool in the process. Frank has even said he's not a debater. But then when you ask Frank, why do you do it then? Why are you going to go debate people and waste our time and waste their time, and then openly admit that you really don't do a lot of research when it comes down to things? I don't get the fact that my email is posorichard.rp@gmail.com. P-O-I-S-S-O. P as in Paul, O as in Oscar, I as in India, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, O as in Oscar, Richard.rp@gmail.com. So it's one of those things now where Frank is taking it too far. He's trying to be bigger than what he is, way too quick, and it's ridiculous. It really is. And he openly admits that he doesn't put the time into debating people like he should, and he doesn't do the research and stuff that he should to get ready to debate somebody. So it's almost for views. It's almost for the clickbait aspect of it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I wish Tristan would do more debates with people. Tristan's good. Bart is excellent. I would like to see Carnivore get involved in some stuff. You know, I don't know. Maybe Dr. Paul Saladino. I would love to see him on debating somebody. Dr. Sean Baker and who was the pro-vegan guy or whatever, that they had a pretty good conversation. They brought him on Human Performance Outliers. And there was a vegan on there, long-term vegan, was very respectful. I mean, it was a good conversation going back and forth. And they did great. I wish I could see more of this from Frank, but I don't think Frank has debating in him, and he needs to quit with that stuff. I know Frank knows how to do all that algorithm stuff. Pretty boy Frank, people like that. People like the hair and the olive-colored skin and the makeup and stuff like that. And then, you know, talking about the gay stuff, and people get a kick out of all that stuff. I don't like all that stuff. I watched a few videos of Frank's, and I thought, you know what, he's all right. And then it started to get to the point where there was more gay stuff coming out. There was more drama and attacking other people and stuff coming out. And I said, I'm done. I don't got time for all that space. But when I see other professionals that are getting abused by him, with him going to their Instagrams and dropping comments and stuff like that and trying to antagonize the drama, I've had enough. I'm going to speak out about it. So that's where I'm at. I just wish Frank would clean up his act. I like him. I really do. Tonight's a busy night. It's cool out. People are wanting to go cruise around in their cars or hot rods and motorcycles. Anyway, I'm going to go in here and grab a steak for dinner, and I will chat with you guys later. I left my email in the description box of my other videos. You'll find it there as well. You can see my keto groups, my Facebook page, my Patreon, all that stuff's there. Anyhow, get a hold of me. Frank, if you watch this video, email me. You've got my email. It's POISSO richard.rp@gmail.com. If you want to talk, I can't message you on your channel because your moderators have me blocked. Anyhow, it is what it is. Y'all be blessed. Take care. Have a great night.